and live your life today. It doesn't matter what they say.
We're going to talk human design today. So I'm here with Mallory, of course, as always, my fellow creator here in Red Lotus Life. Thank you for being with me in this space. And then Jamy Miranda, so excited that you're here again to talk to us more about Collaborate with Cosmos Journal and human design. It is such a, I can see all the hearts. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Jessica says they can hear us. Okay, great. So I am really, really excited to learn more about human design because, back when I first started learning about it, nobody knew what it was. And now it's like this total buzzword. Like it's almost everybody is jumping in and starting to learn more. And it has made such a huge difference in my life, not only my life, but in my family's life, my children's life, like my clients. I use it with my clients. I mean, I love how we kind of say, wow, I wish life had a manual, like it came with a manual, or our kids came with a manual. And it's like, this is the manual.
Yeah, this is as close as it gets to a manual for sure.
Yeah. So I'm really excited that you're back in this space. We're talking about human design. And then also I'd love to know more about how to use it with the journal. So
sure.
Okay. I'll just let you kind of take it away.
Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing. If anybody has questions, please put them in the comments below. We will definitely, even if you're watching the replay, we will come back and answer any of the questions. Hey, Talisa, so excited to see you. Okay, I'm excited. We have some people on, so definitely ask questions if you have questions and we'll get them all answered. This is a very casual conversation today, just talking about the basics. So.
Yes. So I will also preface with the fact that I am a little bit discombobulated today as well. I just got out of a, really powerful voidy sort of session. So I'm still kind of in the ethers, trying to ground a little bit. So forgive me if I don't have all the words today. But like Lori said, today I'd really just like to go over the basics of what human design is, because it's kind of an endless resource, and it contributes information to so many different aspects of life. And so I think in order to not overwhelm, I just want to offer just some basics about the way it works, what it is, and kind of the high level things that you can look at in your chart to just begin starting to interact with this tool. Very similar to Lori, it has been life-changing for me in parenting, in my personal life, in business. It's like a manual for the way that my body, the way that this physical form and the way that I exist in this physical form works. So where to begin? So I have this list from, so I'm studying with Karen Curry Parker, who teaches quantum human design. I almost couldn't find the words human design.
She wrote the book, which is an excellent beginner manual to anybody out there who is, it's the one that I learned the most from when I was first starting this journey.
And she actually studied with the man who downloaded the whole system, So, it's a really powerful course. And it's really beautiful the way that she brings so much information to the table. But one of the things that she shared in the beginning was the human design is the synthesis of so many other esoteric models that we kind of have accessed and used individually. So it's a combination of both Eastern and Western astrology, the Hindu chakra system, Judaic Kabbalah, the Chinese I Ching, and quantum physics. So all of those things kind of get accessed and combined to create what human design brings to us. I didn't know that when I first started studying. It was kind of mind-blowing how many different systems are utilized and overlapped, and how I don't know how rich makes the information. And really, like, the purpose of human design is to change our personal narrative. You know, it helps us to really come back to what it is that we're here to do. You know, it helps us to see where we've been living through the lens of conditioning and like what we should do, and helps us to actually tap into new potential that already exists in our bodies. It's already here. We always have had access to it, and we always will have access to it. Whether or not we know how to access it is what human design gives us.
Wow.
So I assume that most people, yes. Sorry.
So, sorry. I just realized something. Mallory and we did a Lotus Live last week on the misrepresentation of self-love. And we were talking about, just what it is to fully love yourself, and what that really, it's not all rainbows, rainbows and unicorns and high vibe and all that. And, as you're talking about that, it brought up that human design, like by me seeing my human design and understanding my profile, I was able to accept myself on a totally different level, because I sat there and I went, one of my lines is, and we'll get into all of this way later, but one is the martyr. And I just went, so rather than that being something that I keep pushing away, I actually embrace it. And now I realize how it benefits me, instead of going, the martyr kind of gets a bad rap, but really the martyr is actually a really beautiful archetype, Exactly. So anyway, continue on.
It's like permission to be yourself, I think same thing. It's like when I started looking at my chart, there were things that I was like, I've always been that way, but I was trying not to be that way. Like I had judgment around being that way, or, maybe growing up, my family or my dad or my mom or whoever, had an idea about that. And when I saw that, like, it's literally the way I'm built, it's the way I'm supposed to walk in the world, then that helps to shift permission to just fully be what we're here to be. I think that's my favorite thing about human design, is when people are like, I've always felt like I was that way, but I didn't think I should be. And it's like, yes, you should be. Mm-hmm. So you can run your chart for free on jovianarchive.com. You need the same information for running your astrology, your natal chart, your birth day, your birth time, and your birth location. And then it pulls up a general chart that shows your body graph. There are 9 centers in the body. So it's kind of an evolution of the seven center chakra system that we tend to operate on in general, but it's like an evolution of that system. And I don't know the dates. I'm not great at history and dates and those sorts of details. And we'll talk about that later. I tend to be more of the feminine aspect of like awareness and things. So I'm not about details. I'm a little more flowy.
There's an illusion anyway.
Thank you. Yes. Especially in our perceptions of the way the world works. Lori, you have 3 left pointing arrows. So you're actually more towards the structure and the defined way of operating in the world.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
And for those, I do have my chart here so that I can follow along.
All right.
And Mallory's here, but let me pull up
Mallory's. Right.
Mm-hmm. You're
Which is
all right.
so funny because it's like, I feel like Lori and I are like perfect examples of, I feel like Lori just, she has such this feminine, that's her work, right? Like she operates more in the feminine, whereas I'm like, I need a plan, I need this, and I need that. And I'm the one that's like with the checklist that's like being super like, So it's like, it's that not self stuff, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. because we've been conditioned, like, that's how you get shit done, right? That's how you
Mm-hmm.
are. And it depends on who our mentors are, and if they're aware of their design. Because a lot of times a mentor will say, this is what worked for me, so this is how you do it. And they just hand the tools over, as opposed to, this works for me because I'm built this way. And how are you built? This might work better for you. So it's actually, like Lori mentioned, it's really powerful in client work, because if I just share what worked for me, but my client is built completely differently, I'm not actually helping them to achieve alignment with their system.
Right.
And that was a lesson for me. It's like, I had a lot of mentors that were not built the same that I was. And so I was trying to, like, copy the way they did things, and it didn't work for me. And it actually felt like failure, because it's like, oh, it worked for them and it doesn't work for me, until I learned that I am supposed to do things differently. So, yeah. So what I was saying is that there are dates, like, our systems, the system evolved. And again, I should know these things. I'm a little bit in the void today, but I believe it is the heart center. It might be the solar plexus that split into two different centers. So now there are, it's a 9 center system instead of a 7 center system. And what else? Each of the centers obviously represents different aspects, very similar to the 7 chakra system. And when we know, so a center can either be opened or defined. And I think they can also be, it's so hilarious that we're trying to do this today. Open, undefined, and defined. But generally, opened and undefined function similarly to defined. So when you pull up your chart, here are some of the things that you will want to look at. First of all, what is your type? I am a pure generator. Lori, what are you?
I'm a generator. I'm wondering, would it be a good idea, and I don't even know how to do this because I've never done it before, but to share a screen?
Yeah. Yeah, I can share.
Are you able to do that?
I think so.
Do I need to give you permissions?
No, it looks like I have the option to. So
awesome.
Just 1 second. I was going to look for.
And you're welcome to use mine if you need to.
Okay.
Just because I know some people go, no, don't show my chart, because when you show charts, you know everything about that person.
You're welcome to use mine too, and tell me anything that you want to tell me about my chart.
I'm trying to find yours. I can't find yours, but I know I have it in here. Where are you? You're hiding from me. Well, I know I have it like in the other one. Come on, show yourself. Well, I have you in the system, so I will pull up this one too. Because this one, I have 2 different systems that I use. I use Genetic Matrix and 64 Keys, and they each offer different reports and different things that you can look at, and different ways to interpret the information and all of that good stuff. So I will start with Lori's because I have you in the one system, and then we can go to Mallory's after. Okay, let me figure out how to get there real quick. Oh, no, I guess you do have to give me permission to do that.
Oh, okay. This is funny that we're trying to do this today. I apologize to anybody who's watching this right now.
Well, anyway, I can keep talking while you're trying to do that.
I don't know how.
Is it in like...
Oh, wait a second. I think I learned this in Spiral Prac training, actually, when we were supporting. Let's see. I can make you the host, I think. And from there, you can... So I'm making you the host, and I think you can now share your screen.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And I wonder, so I'll need you to tell me, like when I share my screen, I'm going to share your chart, and tell me if it shows you just your chart. Does it just show you Lori's chart?
I can see all of us. I can see the chart. I can see you guys.
Can you see,
excellent.
can you see a PowerPoint presentation? Just your chart, right?
I see like all your tabs and all that.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think it's your entire screen. Whatever you're seeing on your screen, I can see. In fact, can you look on Facebook real fast and see what you can see?
There you go. Oh, yeah. I can look too. Okay, so I do have a PowerPoint presentation open too, but I'll just read off of that one. It just shows my browser. Okay, so this is Lori's chart. And when you run your chart, there are a few things that you want to look at first. They're the things that are foundational to living your design. After you're doing that, after you start playing with this experiment of utilizing your tools and the way you're built, then it becomes helpful to start looking at all these other little nuances. But those other nuances don't hold the power that they do if you aren't living in alignment with your design and your strategy. So we'll do that first. So what you want to look at, this is from Genetic Matrix, but it should look similar to the chart that you would get on Jovian Archive. It'll say your type. So Lori is a pure generator. There are 5 different types. There are manifestors, there are projectors, generators, manifesting generators, and reflectors. So these are the 5 types, and each of these types have different strategies that we use to be in alignment with the way we're built. And the way that my favorite way of understanding our strategy is the way that we interact with the quantum field and the energy of the quantum field. When I heard it put that way, it brought some clarity that was different, because I always heard, like, use your strategy, but I didn't really know what that meant. So manifestors, Mallory, you're a manifester, right?
Yes, I am.
And manifestors are like direct portals to the quantum field. Like you're the channel that brings the information in from the quantum into like this realm. And so
that sounds important.
It is important. It's very important. And I think the biggest challenge, at least since I've been studying this and working with clients, is for manifestors to value that gift, like value the importance of that channel that you are. Because you live in a world that values productivity and work, like you live in a generator world, essentially. And so you've been very conditioned to act like a generator. Most people have, actually. Like most other types are reflecting the generator world that we live in. Manifestors are not supposed to do the work. Manifestors are not, like, you don't have the motor centers, like the thing to sustain that energy. And it actually takes a lot of your frequency or your bandwidth to bring that information through. And that's the gift that you bring to the planet. You're like the cue ball in pool, is the way that my favorite analogy is. Like, if you don't say the thing, if you don't initiate the action, bring through the inspiration, none of the other balls move. So it's like you speaking what's coming through is what initiates movement and inspiration on the planet. What else? So your strategy, manifestors, if you happen to be a manifester, and you're watching this, I think the first thing is to give yourself permission not to feel like you have to do all of the things that you feel inspired to do. That inspiration is not necessarily for you to act on. It's for you to bring through for others to act on. And your strategy is to inform. So the thing about manifestors is that the way that I understand, because I'm not a manifestor, so this is very foreign to me. It's like, wow, that must be amazing, interestingly, like intense. but it's an internal non-verbal flow that happens that if it gets interrupted, you can kind of lose that inspiration. So if you have to stop to ask permission to, like get some input or whatever, like that's not how you work. If you interrupt the inspiration and the flow, you can actually kind of cut it off and lose it. And so to maintain your internal nonverbal kind of flow channel, that can be confronting for the people that live in life with manifestors, because it feels like they're just doing their own thing and running wild and not considering anybody. I think selfishness is actually something that's projected on manifestors a lot, is like, you just do whatever you want and you don't, like, I don't know what's going on. And so the gift, or the way that you can actually help people to honor your channel, is to inform them, this is what I'm doing, this is what's happening next. Not for permission. It's not like, can I do this? It's like, this came through, this is what I'm doing. And that helps the people around you to keep up, really. It's like to have an idea. The story that she told to really bring this home in the training was like, if a partnership of a couple were like, let's do a movie night tonight. Okay, let's do that. So, one partner goes to like get in sweats and get comfy for the night, and the other partner's in the kitchen and decides, oh, let's make popcorn for movie night, but there's no popcorn. So a manifestor would hop in the car, go get popcorn. And because that just makes sense. This is inspiration. I want popcorn. Don't have it. I'm going to go get it. The partner that was changing comes out and they're gone. Like, what? I thought we were watching movies. What's happening? So this is the dynamics that the manifestor, like if the manifestor would have stopped to say, hey, I'm going to go get popcorn, that keeps everybody else in the loop of what's going on. So this is like the challenge of the manifestor, is that you have the inspiration, and you want to just go do it. And that can leave people around you a little disoriented. So with the strategy of informing, that helps to minimize the conflict and confrontation that following your design creates. What else? Is there anything else that's important about manifestors? I feel like there's a lot to manifestors, and I intend to offer more and more information as we continue the series around human design. But I just wanted to kind of give high level information that people can really start using right now if they want to go check out their human design. So Mallory, is there anything else that you think is important for manifestors to know right off the bat about?
I mean, right off the bat, I think that's probably enough, because we have 4 other energy types also to talk about. So that's probably good for today.
Okay, awesome.
Let's keep the ball rolling.
Yes. So what else? The next is projectors. Or the next one I'm going to talk about anyway is projectors. And projectors like direct energy. And they can see a little bit higher perspective. It's like they can see the bigger picture, and they're good at seeing what will work. It's like they're good advisors. Again, not necessarily here to do the work. They also do not have a motor in their system, and again, can wear themselves out if they try to do all the things that they can see need to be done. Yes, Talisa's a projector. And it's important for projectors, just like manifestors, to give themselves permission not to do. That's not what your job necessarily is. The strategy for projectors is to wait for an invitation. And this can be, and it actually is wait for an invitation for the big decisions in life, but also recognize that as a projector, your strategy or what you're doing is directing and guiding information or energy or inspiration. And so what this looks like is actually you sharing your wisdom. Because projectors, again, are not built for the world is not built for projectors either. So they can kind of feel like outsiders or aliens in the way that the system is currently built. The waiting for permission or waiting for an invitation piece is stepping into places where your wisdom is valued. If a projector tries to interject where it hasn't been invited, it may not resonate with the audience. And so a projector can feel a little like they're not recognized and they're not valued, and their wisdom isn't valued. Whereas if a projector stands in their wisdom, shares their wisdom and what they see, and what they, like their perspective on things, what that does is activates awareness in the people that it does resonate with, and calls forth an invitation to contribute their perspective. That can be really challenging for perspectives because, again, we live in a world where production is valued. So if I'm just sitting sharing my ideas, am I valuable to the system? And the answer is yes, you are. Like, we actually need that wider projector perspective to help us as a collective understand what the next best step is. And then we have generators and manifesting generators have the same strategy. So I'll put them together. A pure generator, has a defined sacral, whereas a manifesting generator has the defined sacral, but they also have a defined throat or a channel that goes all the way to their throat. So they have this manifestation gate access as well. Generators and manifesting generators, because we have the defined sacral, we are the life force energy. We have the ability to create and to sustain production. And the key is, the misunderstanding that happens always, like, you're the generator, so you're the worker bee. Generators are supposed to work in alignment with things that light them up. If you are doing something that is out of alignment with you, it will drain your energy. So generators and manifesting generators respond to life. We wait for things that our body, that our sacral says yes to, and that's what initiates. We get to respond to that and take action or take initiation towards. The manifesting generators do kind of have that channel of inspiration as well, though. So for the manifesting generators, not just listening to your yes in your body, but also remembering that you do not have to take action on every inspiration that comes through. Manifesting generators stand at the risk of burnout because they get the inspiration and they want to do all of it as well. But not all the inspiration is for you to take action on. Who do you know that's a manifesting generator? Mallory? I saw your giggle.
Beth, my partner.
Yeah. Does she do that?
She can. I'm usually the one that is more burnoutery because if I don't get my afternoon nap, that's the thing. So if you're a projector or a manifester, give yourself permission to nap all of the naps.
So important.
And I also think it's like super important to just point out, like, reflectors, manifestors, projectors all together make up about 30% of the population, because if it was flip-flopped, people wouldn't be doing anything, right? Exactly. There would be a lot of non-action on the planet, right? Yeah. And then, it's like it seems like without the other piece, when you have just people who are all about action, then it's almost like purposeless action. Am I wrong?
No, I think that's a great thing to point out. And
frankly, I'm not sure which is worse. Things not getting done or
done for no reason, right?
Done, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that it has to do with the collective and what we need right now too, because like projectors, from what I understand, are a relatively new type. And so it's shifting. It's like as more projectors come in, the world will start to respond and adjust to its collective conditioning about the way we're supposed to show up on the planet, but that's part of why projectors in particular, from what I understand, I remember where I read this, or heard it, might have been in the training video, but that it's a relatively new type. And so they kind of feel like aliens in the dynamics of things, because the
Which
way
makes
they do
sense.
things is different. Go ahead.
No, it makes sense. Like with the sheer numbers, I feel like almost everybody I encounter who's like part of the spiritual community, they're like, oh yeah, I'm a projector. And I'm like, why am I not surprised?
Right.
Like, because, and it is that alien energy that is like creating. So I had no idea that projectors were kind of a newer type. But it makes sense that they're so highly concentrated in the spiritual community because they're here to guide us all in a different direction.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Well, not manifestors, because we don't listen to shit, but
Except for divine, so that's okay. You don't need to listen to shit. Permission.
I have something.
Yes.
So I have a client that is a projector, and it's so interesting because in the container, I use the Telegram app. That's like actually where I have everything for the container program is in Telegram. And he just gets so overwhelmed so fast. So I'm sitting here going, yeah, we had to talk about his projector energy and how he can come in and go out, say his 2 cents and go out and, all the things. But, what he does for a living. So we are talking about projectors now, and what he does for a living, and he's not in the spiritual space. Like he's not in the spiritual space, and he actually does like marketing for people, which I've also found now that we're talking about careers or, industries of what these different profiles are in. It does seem like there's a lot of projectors that are they are in the creative, some kind of creative industry.
Yeah. Well, because projectors can see the potential. It's like the future potential. Yeah. And they're here to guide us to that outcome. So they can act like, I think that's often why they feel out too. Because it's like the thing they can see doesn't necessarily exist yet. So like, am I making this up or is this real? It's like they can see what we can't see yet. And they actually bring in the vision. It's like they guide us to that next level vision, which is a bit, it's a big responsibility. I mean, we all have our different responsibilities, like to bring the inspiration in and then to funnel that towards the highest outcome, the ultimate vision that we can see. And then getting us there, like producing the life force energy and the sheer force to get us there. And then reflectors is the last type. And I think as from what I understand, they're the most rare. And they literally are taking in and amplifying everything around them. So like a reflector, it's like they actually just have to wait a whole kind of lunar cycle almost to figure out what is in alignment for them, because everything that they see, feel, sense is a open center. And so it's like they're just bringing in and amplifying the energy of the people around them. I do not know a lot of reflectors, but I think that they are here to like mirror and reflect so we can see ourselves. What's going on? Yes.
I just keep raising my hand.
I'll raise a hand too.
Yeah. So I actually don't know any reflectors that I know of. I feel like there probably has to be somebody that I know, even though they're so rare.
You do. Because we know the same person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the jewelry lady, right?
Oh, Kim? Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, fascinating. If anyone has ever spent time with Kim Wheeler, it is fascinating because she is a direct reflection. But so we're actually working on human design right now in all of the programs that I do, the Say Yes to Soul, Visionary Unleashed, and the Container, but in different ways in each one of those. And one of the things that as I was researching the reflector because I sat there and I went, I don't know if I know anybody that's a reflector. So let me check this out. It was really cool because what I found, and you can tell me if this is real or not because you're the expert, but what I found was that everybody wants a reflector in their life because a reflector is a direct reflection of the environment that's going on around them.
Mm-hmm.
And so now
if you're willing to look at yourself is the thing. Like, I think that a lot of people are triggered by their reflection.
Yeah. But this was really fascinating because now that you just said Kim Wheeler was, so now I'm thinking about all the different times I've been with Kim. So Mallory and I were actually we were at one of Leah Steele's VIP days together and Kim was there. And this is the line one investigator in me, but I'm going to actually sit there and review and reflect on that time spent with her because she was literally right there reflecting everything that was going on with all of us. And it was so amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Beth is here now. Yeah. Beth was there too.
Hi, Beth.
Yeah. So
hi.
This is so fascinating to me. I mean, honestly, human design is so fascinating.
And it's endless. Like every time I'm like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
There's a new thing that I just thought about.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Mallory?
Oh, I was going to ask, because you mentioned open centers with reflectors. Do all reflectors essentially have mostly open centers? Is anything defined for reflectors?
I believe that reflectors are all open centers.
Wow. Oh,
that's what makes them a reflector. I may be
wrong.
Are
they not sleeping all the time?
Because reflectors, is the rarest. So I haven't dove into that one fully yet. But yeah, I believe that that's what I'll check and confirm in here. So they're literally just reflecting. They have no like inner defined meanness. It's like all a reflection. My puppy's a reflector. So yeah. So we can tell like if she's getting crazy, it's like, what's going on in the house here?
I don't know why that's just making me cry a little bit. I guess just because you said the word puppy and there goes Mallory.
Yeah. Oh, you're so cute. So that brings us to centers. We can talk about centers next. Actually, is open and defined. Yes.
So there is a question in the group. Well, somewhat of a question. Beth is just saying that she gets confused around the cross stuff and the arrows. So I don't know if you want to speak on that right now, since that's actually, what she just dropped in.
The incarnation cross.
I don't know, Beth, is it the incarnation cross?
Yeah. I would say if Beth is, I can message Beth because I know Beth and I love Beth. But that is a relatively complicated, like in-depth conversation. But it does have to do with your karma, your purpose, like what you're here to do. So yeah, the incarnation crosses are kind of a second or third layer depth of information around human design and like digging deeper into what your design has to say about you. And you can have incarnation crosses for different parts of your life too. Like you can have your life incarnation cross, but also a cross for like your Saturn return or your Uranus return, and just these different Chiron return, which are major events,
astrological events.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me words.
Had coffee. Both of you are being all spiritual, like, okay, yeah, I'm grounding in after these really intense sessions, and I'm like, I'm gonna human the fuck out of this and drink some coffee so I can
Thank
say
you
words.
for that. Thank you. So the thing with centers. Go ahead.
Okay, so since the chart is up, let's see, since the chart is up, so we're looking at, just so that we can tell the people who are like, I have no idea what this is. So right now, what you were just talking about, the incarnation cross, it actually looks different than my chart here, but you're a different system.
Yeah.
So mine has yeah, I won't say what mine has. Let's just talk about, and we don't have to talk about what mine is, but it just point it out. So
right
people
here,
will know.
the incarnation, incarnation cross. It'll say RAX or LAX is right angle or left angle. And what's the other one? Anyway,
Okay.
that part has to do with the angle, and then it has to do with, what the theme of that cross is.
Okay. So I think that's a whole nother Lotus Life just to talk on just that.
Yes, it is. And there's a lot of information held in it. And I think if you're curious, you can search online, like you can do incarnation crosses. And if I can find it, I'll put the link here, but there's a whole list of what the theme of the incarnation crosses is.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
So I am just looking at time, and I want to be, respectful of everybody's time. So we're looking at about another 15 minutes. So do you want to talk about those centers? Things, or do you want to talk about the centers? Thank you. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about the centers, or do you want to talk profile lines?
Do you have a feeling, Miss Manifester, which way we should go?
I have a feeling I need more coffee.
Let's talk about centers, because
we're going to talk about these.
Yeah, just because when we're looking at, our design, our type, the profiles are important, and I can actually even pop in a list of the different profile lines. But something about our centers is that when it's defined, it means we have a very specific way of interacting with that particular, the theme of that center. Like we have a way we do that thing, whatever the center represents. And if it's open, it means that we are receptive to that energy around us, and we amplify it. And so I think that the reason that this is important to talk about is to recognize what is yours and what isn't yours, and we tend to, like, I have an open emotional center. So that means that I feel the emotion of the people around me and I amplify it. So if I'm around happy people, I'm extra happy. If I am, in a conflict, say with my kiddos, they both have defined emotional centers. So if they're feeling frustrated, I will feel that frustration and amplify it within my system. And it's important to recognize when we have open centers that actually we do not have to hold and amplify that. We can be more like a strainer and let it just move through us, as opposed to like thinking it's ours and acting on it and, like owning it as our own. The open centers show us where we are here to become more wise. Like we are here to experience and learn the different energies and themes of those centers. The defined centers were kind of defined, right? Like we this is how I do this. And I can actually share in the group. I don't think I did it yet, but I can share into the group. I have like a summary of what those things are, what the centers are.
That would be amazing.
Because they each have themes, and it's a very general theme. But let me see if I can find it here too, because I could just talk about it quickly. And I know that I just downloaded it. Sorry, guys. I feel like I should have done.
I think this is really awesome. Just a little, while you're looking for that, I'll just tell a little story about what's happening with the kids. This is whenever I say, I wish, my kids are grown and out of the house now, but I wish I had this when they were younger, and especially in times like these, because the kids are, there's a lot of stress and anxiety and stuff that's going on. Mallory might actually even have a little bit to say on this as far as being a school teacher, but a couple of my friends are school teachers, and they're seeing, what's happening with having school online. And then I've actually had some different people reach out to me asking me if I could do some sessions with their kids around this. And what I've found, which has been really amazing and awesome, this is what I love. This is not the age of the guru. This is the age of learning about yourself and learning your, tools, right? And so in the little tiny bit of time that I've had, I've been like, okay, well, just show me, if you could send me their human design profile, then we can see what kind of energy they have. And then we're able to walk through how to expel the energy, or how, if you have a generator that's just sitting there all day, like that's not a good thing.
They need to move. Yeah,
need to move. If you're a projector, then that also is, you've got to be in and out, go and recharge, replenish. But it's really been amazing for the teachers to learn this, and also the parents who have gotten in touch with me, because, in the end, they didn't need sessions. They just needed to know more about themselves and the children, and how to release, because anxiety is
it is a huge key, like a huge tool. It has literally changed the way that I interact with my kids, and the way they interact with me. It's like when we can all understand our natural tendencies and respect them and make room for all of them, everybody functions better. It's a healthier atmosphere for sure.
I wish I would have known about this when I was teaching. But I also know that a lot of parents would have had a problem with me wanting to know birth dates and times and locations, like what shit are you doing with my kid,
right?
Kind of thing. But
it is what it is.
Having that information would have been helpful.
Yeah, even just for you to treat them or to respond to whatever their needs were.
Because one of the things that we're taught as teachers when we're planning lessons is that you never ask a yes or no question. You only ask. So poor generators and manifesting generators, sorry, you guys don't get to answer the question, or you have a harder time answering the question.
Exactly.
Because it's like you ask them stuff that they can expand upon, but somebody who is waiting for their gut response, they don't ever get that opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah. The other thing too is interesting, this is of course more advanced as well, but when we are in like a group, our centers, our dynamics can change. Like it creates a quantum field of energy. And so our designs can, we have different strengths and weaknesses within the container of a group as well. So you can look at that for family centers, for businesses, for teams, things like that, classrooms probably.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's the quantum.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to give a quick summary of what each of the themes of the centers are. So the head center is the source of inspiration, and it is a pressure center as well. So it can create mental pressure or anxiety, like if we aren't utilizing the flow in, or clearing our center if it's open. So when you have a defined head, the inspiration comes through to be shared. And when it's open, we're receiving inspiration from external sources. And either way, actually, it can feel like if a defined head is with an undefined, it can feel pressure. Like, I don't know what to do with all of this information. Should I be acting? Shouldn't I be? Like that sort of energy. The root is also a pressure center, but more in the way of pressure to do, to act, to move. The Ajna center is more about analytical thinking, like measuring and categorizing. And it's kind of like the way that we process information. So it's like the defined has a very consistent way of processing information. The open tend to be like more open-minded and consider lots of different perspectives. The throat center governs communication, and it's an important center of manifestation. It's how the energy comes out into the world. So defined throat has a consistent way of sharing who they are with the world around them. And when it's open, we tend to more communicate according to the needs of our audience. So it's more inconsistent in the way that our communication comes out. Identity center is associated with sense of self, with love, with direction and sense of purpose in our lives. So when that's defined, we have a consistent sense of who we are. When it's open, we tend to look for external reflection to tell us who we are, how we should show up. And you can see how these things, you know, like in the world, we're conditioned to value one over the other in certain areas. The heart center is a motor center. It's associated with the ego, with willpower, and also with material survival. And so when it's defined, there's like a consistent source of willful energy to get things done. And the defined heart also like have a connected or an embodied sense of their value. Whereas when it's open, that person might need external validation to understand or see their value. What are you smiling about, Mallory?
Because that's my defined will is what gets me into trouble, because I'm not supposed to be doing, and I have the defined thing that says, hey, do stuff. But
you need to, so your defined will though can be applied to bringing the inspiration through. It doesn't necessarily have to be applied to action, but you have the willpower to do what's in alignment for you. Because some people don't, they don't have and it also has to do though with understanding your value. So if you apply that will to fully owning your channel, and that's valuable, and that's all you need to do. You do not have to do more than that to be value and contributing to the system. It's like learning to decondition any beliefs that tell you otherwise and fully own that part of it. Because we can be conditioned in our defined centers too. It's like, I know that this is all I need to do, but I think I'm supposed to do other things because that's what I was taught. So I keep trying to do other things.
Yeah. So like how it shows up for me is like, I will bend over backwards to like make sure that I honor my word. Like, okay, I said I was going to have stuff done by this deadline, then there's no flexibility. Like it's going to be done by this deadline, regardless of whether I'm tired and I need the rest or not. And that has been my week. We were talking about this a little bit before the call. Like that has been my last several days. I have skipped my nap for several days now, and it's just not good for anybody.
What if you applied willpower to taking your naps? That's what you need to accomplish is nap time.
Right. So guess what I'm doing after this call? Well, after my client. Perfect.
Okay, next is the splenic center. Primal awareness. It's associated with our intuition. Like it's that part of us that like when we get a weird feeling that something's off, it's like if you have a defined spleen, you have a reliable and consistent guidance from that like instinctual gut feeling. If it's open, that access is inconsistent. It's like, oh, last time I felt this, it meant this, but now it's a little different this time. So it's a little harder to really tune into what your instinctual guide sounds like. The sacral center is the motor center that generates like creative life force energy on the planet. It's also connected to our sexuality. So if it's defined, we generate sustainable energy for work. If you have only defined sacral centers have the ability for sustained energy to create and to do. Any other type doesn't have that. And so they have like bouts of energy to do, and then it's gone and they have to replenish. But again, for you generators, that does not mean that you do everything. It means you do what lights your center up, what brings you sustainable energy. If it's draining your center, it's not what you're supposed to be doing. And then the open sacral has no internal energy center, so they need to manage energy and rest. Use it when it's there and allow space for it not to be there. The emotional center is kind of the source of our emotions and feelings in the body. And this center moves in waves. There are, I think, 3 or 4 different types of waves. If you have a defined emotional center, you have your own personal kind of cyclical waves of emotion that impact your decisions. So it's really important for defined emotional centers to recognize this is the strongest like factor in in decision making, like as far as our authorities go, the emotional kind of overrides the other ones because it's the strongest or the first initial one that comes through. If it's defined in your system, it's important for you to take time before you make decisions and not make decisions in the high. Like we get excited and then we say, yes, I want to do it. And then our wave goes down and we're like, oh, never mind. I don't actually want to do it. And so if you can like learn that wave and ride them before you make commitments, that will help you to find yourself in more aligned places. Yes.
So if you have the emotional center and other things defined and the emotional center is not your authority, do you still have to do that?
Yes. I mean, like if you have a defined emotional center, it's the way that your emotional center works. Your inner authority, like we have, it's still going to impact how you feel at the different parts of your cycle in regards to whether or not you are committed to something or not. The other thing with emotional centers is that they are not, they very rarely, if ever, feel 100% sure about something. And so a lot of emotional centers are like, oh, I feel like this is what I should, but I'm not sure. And so what I've heard is that if you are 80% sure about something, that is actually enough to take action for a defined emotional center. But they tend to be like, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I? Like that sort of thing. And it's okay. Like that's actually the way you're built, and you will not likely ever feel 100% sure about something. It's foreign for me because I don't have an emotional defined center. So there's not like a lot of emotion happening in my decision. So I'm like, yep, that's what I want. It's not what I want. It's like, it's moves differently through my system. But with the emotional center, we do take in other people's emotions and amplify them. So I have to be careful about that. What?
It sounds like the worst thing to have defined ever. So I have a defined emotional center, but I have a splenic authority. So I have the defined spleen as well. Yes. So it's like, I should know instantly if something is right, but also I need to ride the wave. So it's just kind of like.
You can feel it. So, but it's about like what you're committing to, like the splenic center gives you a gut feeling. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to take action on it or not. It doesn't mean it's what you want to be doing or not. So it's like, or buying or not, or whatever, so it's like ride the wave and learn your wave too. Different channels have like different wave styles, if you will.
So listen to the gut feeling, take a nap first, and then make the decision when you wake up.
Just tell people what to do.
Wake up, make the decision, and then tell other people to do it for me. Excellent. Yes.
And then the last one is the root center. So this is a pressure center, again, like the head energy. It's like it's a motor center. It impacts our physical stress and pressure. Laura, you were talking about this earlier about kids with a defined motor center. That physical activity is how they will release anxiety and built up tension in their bodies. So when it's defined, there is sustainable physical energy, and that's why it needs to be released through physical activity. An open root has an inconsistent generation of physical energy. So it's like sometimes we're go, 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 and then sometimes we're like, I don't feel like doing anything. I have an open root center. And the combination of those things together can actually create tension. It's like if somebody with a defined root and an open root, the open root will feel pressure from the defined to do more than maybe they feel energized to do at any given moment. So just one last thing. I know that we're really close on time, but if you look at your charts and notice what's open and defined, start to pay attention to what your way of doing it is, if it is defined. And if it's open, start to pay attention to what isn't yours. Recognize that when you feel something in the themes of these centers, that you are likely taking it in from outside of you, and you actually don't have to hold it. You can let it move through you because it's not actually yours. And those of you that use emotional clearing, use that tool to clear your open centers of anything that's not yours. And it helps you to be more in alignment with yourself. Yes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so that's funny that I never even thought about clearing my open centers. So just real quick, I don't recall if we actually went over in the chart. So anything that's colored in, those shapes, so the shapes are the centers.
Yep.
And if they are colored in, that means they are defined. And if they are not colored in and they are clear, then that means they are undefined.
Yep.
So I would like, as a closing, I guess, if you wouldn't mind talking about the journal, Collaborate with the Cosmos, since we're getting ready to start a new month.
Yes.
And how do you use the human design in the daily journal?
Yeah. Well, so in human design, first of all, I have it at the beginning. I have all of these summaries on the charts. So you can start to become more familiar with your own chart. And then also I put every day, the sun and the earth and all the planets actually, but the two that I put in there are the sun and the earth, because it's kind of the collective energy that's happening. And then the tool or the aspect that we can actually utilize to move through that collective energy most efficiently is the way that those two things interact. And so every day it's transiting through a different gate. I don't know if you all these numbers in each of the centers are gates. So as it travels through a gate, it activates that in the collective and in our own systems. So when we can become aware of whether or not it's defined or not for us, or in an open or defined center, but more so it's about being aware of what's happening in the collective. Like right now, this is what's happening, and here's what energy I can actually use to most efficiently move through it. But when it activates something that is, activated or defined in your center, then you may feel it more directly as well. So it's kind of twofold. There is this aspect of being able to get more familiar with your own design, and then also the way human design transits are impacting the collective on a daily basis. Yeah.
So fascinating. So fascinating. We've had a lot of people come in and out. So I just wanted to say, if anybody has questions, I will end up dropping the link to the journal so that you can order the journal for the month of April. It's super fascinating right now. As we all know, we're in exciting times. And even yesterday and today, there was stuff happening in the cosmos that I had to drop into all of my groups and say, hey, so just letting you heads up, this is what's happening. There's some heated energy. So I love this. I love your journal, Jamy. I love it. I love to collaborate with the cosmos and being able to learn even more about ourselves by using all of these different types of maps and models on the daily, to literally say, okay, this is how I'm being affected by, this and that. I just, we're moving. This is what we're doing in Red Lotus Life. We are bridging this gap as we're moving from one timeline into the other and into this age of Aquarius, and really using, I always call them my superpowers. Why wouldn't you want to use your superpowers right now in this time of just, going, it is ease and flow. It really is. I'm not saying it's not challenges and obstacles and all of that, but it's definitely like, if it's kind of like your Google Maps or whatever it is. If you can tell there's a car wreck up above, you're going to go around it.
Exactly. If it's raining out today, I'm going to take an umbrella.
Exactly. Yes. So this is why I love it. And I love having you coming into the group every month to do something like this.
Thank you.
So
I love my time with you ladies.
If there's, just anybody who has questions or, there we all are. Okay, great. If anybody has questions, please drop them into the comments, and Jamy or Mallory or I will get to them. And just real quick,
if you have any specific topics that you would like us to talk about in future lives that we do, I'm a generator, so I respond. So if somebody says, I'd like to hear more about whatever the topic is, that allows me to then respond and meet that request. So if you guys have anything specific you would like to hear, let me know, and I will be happy to bring it in.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. I can think of like 20.
Endless.
Right now.
I know.
I am just informing everybody right now that I do not respond.
I inform.
Oh, somebody magically put another cup of coffee in front of my face.
Aw, nice.
Nice. So real quick, Jamy, what do you have going on? And we'll go ahead and wrap this up. We'll just talk.
Yeah.
What do you have going on right now?
Well, I have obviously human design readings. If you would like to dig into your own personal reading, your own chart, and when we do this very generally, it's kind of take it and figure it out yourself. But if you would like to dive into the specifics of your chart or your family's charts, if I need to understand what's going on with my kids, whatever that might be, I do human design readings. And then I'm also starting to do clearing. So like we do with the spiral, clearing the themes of the 7 chakras, what if we cleared specifically around the way your system is set up, where you're defined, where you're open, and clearing any conditioning so that you can live fully in alignment with the way you're supposed to on this planet. So yeah, those are at least the human design things. I have the spiral and the womb spiral as well, which I'm in love with, but as on topic, those are the human design things that I'm offering.
Amazing. Yeah, I suggest readings with Jamy. I definitely do. So anybody who's out there.
I have never had a reading or clearing with Jamy, but that sounds amazing. Come and get it.
Okay. Yeah. So Mallory, what do you have going on?
I'm still on come and get it, but deity sessions, they are ridiculously powerful. So my entire March essentially got booked up with those. So these are deity power sessions. So any of the deities that may have been calling to you, Kuan Yin, Thoth, Lilith, Hecate, they all have their own specific sessions that go along with very specific clearing that goes along with each of them. And surprise to me, you get your own altar that is set up to appreciate the deity. I know it was a total surprise to me. It just, my first session that I ever gave was a Hecate, and she was like, no, you're doing an altar for me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, all right, here we go. Anyway, so there's a very specific altar that is, for you, that is dedicated to the deity in question, and specific clearing. So Hecate is magic, magnetism, power. Lilith is healing, freedom, and sexuality. Thoth is discipline, balance, soul wisdom. And Kuan Yin is self-love, compassion, and perseverance. So if any of those things are singing to you right now, definitely reach out to me. My April's already starting to book up. So you're going to want to get it. You're going to want to come and get it. You're going to want to come and get it. Come and get all the divinity.
Amazing. I'm just looking at the comments here. Carrie is definitely, so Carrie Norley is on, and she is giving Jamy shout outs. And she's also resonating with you, Mallory, on not responding. I wonder what she is.
She's a manifestor too. She gets it.
Yeah.
She gets it.
Okay. And then Talisa is saying that Jamy is definitely the person to go to. Well, she says taking womb spiral with Jamy. It's amazing. So
I love working with Talisa. She's powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a live tomorrow on human design in Carrie's container.
Are you?
In her wealth codes. Yeah, bringing some money wisdom through.
Oh,
so
nice. Oh, we need to do that. Then, we definitely, Carrie, if you want to drop in your container in the space, go ahead and do that. Because I definitely would like to do wealth consciousness stuff as well. So, yeah. And then,
what about you?
Yeah, I was just going to say, in all of my stuff, it's so strange how this starts to just align, but we're actually just beginning the basics of human design in Say Yes to Soul, Visionary Unleashed, and the container. So in Say Yes to Soul, we're actually focused this week on learning about the energy, which you just spoke about, which is funny, generator and all that. So using your energy, like living in your energy, learning about it, living in your energy, and then using it to connect to soul to create a designed, your desired life over here and say yes to soul. And then there's juiciness happening in Visionary Unleashed with everyone using that design or that energy to create their vision. I mean, it's been so fun because it's exactly what you said, Jamy, where you said you have to be lit up if you're a generator. Like you have to be lit up with what you are doing, or else you're just going to drain that battery really fast. So it's been fun to see that happen. And then in the container, I mean, that's where a lot of magic ends up happening, and they're using that to make an impact in the world in whatever way, whatever impact they're doing and creating. So it's been fun to, as I said, like the projector, the generators, the manifestors, every single person is able to use that in a different way. And so it's just fascinating.
It is.
So anybody can go and check that out too. If you have questions, just let me know, or go to LoriKinsey.com. It's in there too. So love to have you guys. But I think that just about does it. We went a little over today.
I knew that we would, because human design is so vast. And I was looking at the description of the event and I was like, oh, we're going to cover all of that? Okay, here we go.
My generator motor was ambitious. Little bite-sized nibbles though, it's like taking each part and be able to be with it for a little bit and then put the next layer. I think that's, at least
right. So everybody in this group has a month essentially to integrate everything that we've talked about today. And then we're going to talk about the next thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and ask all the questions too, because
And also I'm encouraging everybody to actually like post in the group. People can post in the group. It doesn't just have to be on live streams. It doesn't have to be like in fact, maybe I'll put a post out there saying, hey, if you guys
share your chart. Like if you take a screenshot and aren't sure what you're looking at, post it, ask the question and I'll give you the insight that you're looking for.
Oh, that's good too. Okay. All right. Well, everybody have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us. All the two of you, thanks for joining in the space. And then everybody who ends up watching live or the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll just see you next time. Okay. Bye.
And live your life today. It doesn't matter what they say.